President Cyril Ramaphosa shocked the country on Thursday afternoon by revealing that he was stepping down from the presidency with immediate effect in a surprise move broadcast live in Parliament, citing moral introspection, political stagnation and the imperative for a new generation to take over. Ramaphosa made his shock announcement during what was to be a mundane debate on the National Treasury's budgetary changes for the media. The House, which was already buzzing with rumor after new accusations of corruption at the highest level, descended into silence when Ramaphosa called for a point of privilege and made an announcement that left members of parliament, the press and the public stunned. "I have served this nation in dedication amid storms and scandals, in hope and adversity," said Ramaphosa, standing at the podium in a composed yet grave tone. "But I can no longer remain at the helm of a government that has lost the moral certainty and cohesion of purpose to put South Africa above the crisis." He continued that following serious consultations with his family, senior leadership, and his own conscience, he had made the hard choice to resign as President of the Republic with immediate effect. Gasps were heard in the chamber as opposition benches remained stunned in disbelief. ANC MPs watched in stunned silence, with some looking visibly shaken. Deputy President Paul Marshall, who sat just behind Ramaphosa, was seen looking stunned and leaned forward anxiously to confer with Minister in the Presidency Komodo and Shivini. Ramaphosa, who has survived several political storms since assuming office in 2018, including the failure scandal, growing factional divisions within the ANC, and growing public frustration over crime, unemployment, and ongoing state capture exhaustion, employed his last words to speak directly to the nation. "This office must never become a prison for power. It must be a platform for transformation. When that becomes impossible, the honorable thing to do, however difficult, is to stand down with dignity," he said. Ramaphosa did not appoint a successor, but called on Parliament to protect constitutional order and facilitate a smooth handover of power. In the immediate aftermath, the Speaker adjourned the sitting and summoned an emergency parliamentary leadership meeting. As per the Constitution, Acting President Paul Moshetel is set to be sworn in as Acting President as the National Assembly is poised to choose a new head of state within 30 days. "The President has made the surprise move and we are all stunned, but we defer to him. The nation comes first and I will do everything I can to instill stability in this trying time," Moshetel said. Responses within the ANC were varied. Some of its members lauded Ramaphosa's bravery and statesmanship, while others were concerned with the timing, particularly with the party still reeling from the historic underperformance during the 2024 general elections, when for the first time in democratic history, it could not achieve an outright majority. ANC Secretary General Fico Mola summoned an emergency meeting of the party's National Executive Committee, NEC, to find a way forward. "We did not anticipate this, but we had to move fast. The nation can no longer afford uncertainty," Balula indicated. Behind the scenes, insiders indicated that the tensions had been building for weeks. Ramaphosa was said to be angered by increasing pushback inside his own cabinet and at the ANC's leadership level, many of whom were opposed to his anti-corruption drive and efforts to implement public sector reforms. The last straw, sources say, could have been a classified intelligence report warning of mounting unrest linked to internal sabotage campaigns and economic grievances. This, followed by a recent wave of public demonstrations and strike action, would have probably made Ramaphosa think that resignation was the only reasonable way of avoiding wider instability. Opposition parties did not take long to react. EFF's Julius Malema, in just minutes after Ramaphosa's resignation, described the action as long overdue. "Ramaphosa has overseen a failed government, high unemployment, uninterrupted crime, no clear direction. But let us be frank, the ANC itself is the issue. Taking out one man will not repair a corrupt and exhausted organization," Malema declared. But he also commended the president's grace in his resignation. "Although we disagreed with the president on so many issues, we acknowledged the dignity he exercised in leaving office. We now call on Parliament to make it a transparent democratic transition, not just the exchange of one cadre for another." Democratic Alliance, DA, leader John Steenhuisen repeated the call for fundamental change. South Africa is not looking for another president. It's looking for a new direction based on transparency, accountability, and actual economic reform, he declared. Other parties such as the IFP and Action SA called for calm and a national conversation to steady the political landscape. The news stunned the financial markets. The rand weakened 3.8% against the US dollar in the first hour of the announcement, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange fell as well under investor uncertainty. Certain financial experts, however, were saying that the resignation might open up political space for a reboot and a more legitimate administration depending on the succession mechanism. The United Nations and African Union, among international observers, made statements calling for continuity and the maintenance of democratic norms. As South Africa staggers from yet another seismic change in its political landscape, questions of leadership, party integrity, and the future of democratic government have become front and center. For the time being, the nation embarks on a new and uncertain chapter, one that will strain its institutions, its people, and its political class in the days ahead. Whether Ramaphosa's departure will be remembered as a wise sacrifice or as a symptom of system failure, only time will tell. What is known is that the way forward will require courageous decisions, collective will, and reimagining the political future of South Africa.